I'm so glad that we are here with Greg Fitzsimmons.
Yes!
The brilliant, the end time prophet. What hasn't he done? He's a writer. He's a comic. He's beloved by all. Greg Fitzsimmons.
Hi, Greg.
Did you say blown by all?
I said beloved by all.
Oh, I would rather be blown by all.
But you're beloved instead. And your podcast is great, and it's been going on for how long?
Well, you've been on it several times, right?
No, just once when I shat on your person for saying your boy Norm Macdonald, and then I kind of ruined it from there, I think.
Oh, what'd you do?
Well, I had to tell how awfully I was treated by that guy. But anyway, we're not going to say
can't
that. But
do
anyway,
that.
Right.
I
the
know.
internet will read you to filth if you mess with Norm
Oh,
Macdonald.
I
it's
know.
a sacred cow.
They will come after you.
Yeah.
My friend, similarly, I have a female comedian friend who, when he passed, had a similar experience. She was like, just voicing my experience, and then the trolls came out.
Yeah. So let's start again. Greg, you've got a great car, a great life. The last time I talked to you, I think you were putting together a new bed and were showing off in front of your wife, and you threw your back out. Is that right? I believe that was it, which I love you for doing that.
Yeah, I think there's certain times where I don't know if I'm doing it for her or for me. Just
Okay.
that it can still happen. You know,
Throw your back out?
No, you know, trying to. Oh, you talking about I threw my back out putting the bed together?
Yeah, but I thought it was
you
also.
meant I put the bed together and then I had sex with her.
Yeah. I think it was all in the
No,
same
okay,
thing.
it was all that, yeah.
You know, married life. You know, you have to get it where you can, like during a chore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Greg, yeah. But and I met Greg's wife, and she's beautiful and smart and funny. And I think at that time too, we were talking about your kids were teenagers, and one was on the roof. Do you remember that?
Oh,
Was
my
that during your
daughter
podcast?
was. Yeah,
Oh,
my daughter used to
okay.
climb on the roof.
Yeah.
and then we'd have to get her down. She's always been like the kid that she was at school when she was in kindergarten, and she left campus with a friend.
Oh, geez.
And they there's a kindergarten through 5th grade, and they shut the entire school down because they couldn't find her. And she
Sure.
was just hiding behind a tree off campus for an hour.
Wow. Okay.
And they called us and they said, "We lost your child."
Yes.
And we came in, and
Oh
she
my
didn't
God.
understand what the big fuss was. She was just like,
But it's funny
saw
that
a
she's
tree.
she's an athlete, and now she's a surfer, right?
big surfer.
Oh, that's
yeah,
great.
yeah. She likes to surf.
Oh, that's amazing.
Are you a surfer?
I've tried it, but I just feel like it's like getting out there is so much energy that by the time I do, I don't have any strength left to get up on the wave.
Can you like catch a wave and all that?
Yeah, but I just
It's okay not to like it, to think so fucking what?
I love the lifestyle. I envy the people that are into it, including my daughter. Just not my thing. I like sports where you like badminton. I know that.
Because I'm good at it. That's the only reason I
yeah.
like it is because I'm good at it.
Right.
But the rest of it, my boyfriend's a surfer.
I can't do anything that requires balance.
Oh,
I just
really?
can't.
No.
But those heels you wear.
I know. I mean, that's because I have a high arch. It's actually easier
Oh.
than every time I've fallen on my head. I've been in a flat shoe. So I've been
Is that right?
Yeah. Or skates. I've fallen on my head backwards. You know, I blabbed about my brain aneurysm on here. Right?
Yeah. Right.
You're sick of hearing it?
How is your head?
I think it's all right. It's still here. I wanted to have, and of course, I came out of it pretty fast. Like it was only about a week, and I wanted to have some new talent, like just be able to play the harp or the violin.
Yeah.
But I'm still just,
Right.
Can't
Or
learn
at least
anything.
like
A
a-
Scottish accent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
Like you
know.
come out of it exotic somehow.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Like memories of the war.
Just a white trashy jackass like I was before. But anyway, Greg, one of the things I wanted to ask you is, okay, so you do stand up, and you just said you go from Pasadena, so you do more than one set a night, just like in New York.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
I tried to. It's much harder in LA.
Yeah.
In New York, it's like you can just stay in the Village and there's, 4 or 5 clubs you can hit.
Yeah.
And out here, it's like, there's the 3 that are next to each other, the Improv and the Laugh. One of them, I'm not going to say which one, but one of them is like a hack. It's a hack. I almost said Hack Factory, but
Yeah.
I should.
Wait a second. Let me think. It is really a hack factory. I can say it because I don't work there. You mean the Laugh Factory? That is a hack factory.
It's
Yeah.
But
the vibe is weird there.
It's I don't know what it is.
It's a
I go
haunted
in
building.
and
It's like the old spaghetti factory. It's the old hack factory.
It's
Yeah.
like the crowds are just. I mean, you know this.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're just consistently dumb
Oh,
in a
sure.
building. In some buildings, they just are dumb. I don't know how they're marketing it or
We used to call that Bridge and Tunnel in New York.
right.
That audience.
Dangerfields would be like
Oof.
that.
Have you done Chocolate Sundays?
Yes.
So that's the only show at that particular venue where I'm like, oh, it is a comedy club.
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
worth. I perform there and bomb my ass off, and then the weird bar in the back,
Yeah.
by the staircase,
Yeah. Mhm.
and then people it's post-COVID, so people are still wearing masks, and I did all right, and I get off, and the bartender goes, Daniel Webb. I go, yes. And he's like, from Texas. I was like, yes, and he pulls his mask down, and I won't say his name, but if I were to say I had a bully growing up, it was that son of a bitch.
Oh,
And he was the
no.
bartender?
It was the bartender.
Oh.
And it wasn't one of those like, look at me now, because I just ate shit on stage. You know
Oh,
what I mean? So I didn't get to have the like, look at me. It was like, can I have a Stella? Like it was just no.
Wow.
Well, he's not exactly a shining star at this point.
No, a
No, not at
bartender.
all. But it was one of those. You could clearly see. Do I take this moment?
Yeah.
Or do I just like fraternize and bro down? It was really bad. I was like, I hate this.
It is fun though to get older and run into somebody like that and realize that it just doesn't matter anymore. Like it's almost like, what do they call it? What's that therapy where if you have a phobia, they make you do it, and then you realize it's not as bad.
The Montel Williams show? Is that what it was? But I know what you're talking about.
It's like traumatic something therapy.
Yeah, you
But
expose yourself to your fear.
But like you think, like I have bullies that if I think about today, Clem McCann used to be my bully. He
That's
was
a bully name.
It's a bully name. He was a redhead and he had a fucking GTO. He had a Pontiac GTO.
But what was his first name? Clem?
Clemson, I guess Clemson would be the
That's
full
a
name. Clem
name.
McCann. His father worked. I grew up in a town that had a GM plant.
Okay, yeah.
And his father worked at the plant, and then Clem ended up working at the plant, and they just lived in kind of a rough part of town, and he used to hit me.
No.
Like punch me.
Did you have an older brother? Anybody that could help you out?
I used to help my older brother out.
Oh.
Yeah. But then I realized, like, I was doing a show in Tarrytown. And I was like, well, what if literally, what if Clem McCann shows up?
No.
What if I look out of the crowd and Clem McCann is sitting there and I really like froze me up?
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, I've had experiences where you see those people and you just go like, oh, it's just a fucking dumb redheaded kid who's angry at his dad.
I
you know?
remember I'd been on SNL and done a few things like on cable, some stand up on cable. And I walked into the mall with my grandmother, and the guy I had the biggest fucking crush on all during high school, I think I even like tried to flirt with him, ask him out, was working at Kinney Shoes in the mall. And I kind of felt like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think I feel like I said hi, and he kind of sheepishly said hi back, but for a second, and then it was just like, I remember his name. I'm not going to say his name though, because that might be mean. Kevin Duma.
What did
Kevin
you get the shoes?
Duma.
He was super cute.
Now he's selling Puma.
Shit. Yeah.
That's what they call him now, Kevin Puma.
Where did
That
you grow
didn't matter
up? You're
anyway.
In
East
New York,
Coast?
Yes.
Tarrytown, New York.
Okay, where is that?
It's like 20 minutes north of the city.
Okay.
On the Hudson River.
Yeah, and
Nice
you
little
started
town.
stand up in New York also?
No, Boston. I went to college in Boston.
Okay.
At Harvard.
Oh.
Sure.
No, Boston University. And then I started doing stand up and got pretty lucky because, as you know, you spent time up there, Dan, and it was just like there were just rooms everywhere,
Yeah.
like good rooms.
Yeah.
And there was cross comedy, which I know you used to do cross comedy sometimes.
Yeah, and I was laughing. Dana Gould was on the show, and we talked about Robin Horton.
Oh
Remember
my
him?
God, from Catch a Rising Star.
Yeah, and
right.
getting, and just in general, like I think of like all the advice, the bad advice, consistent bad advice that I always took, and even I remember Silver Friedman at the Improv in New York said I needed to wear a hat.
What?
Yeah. She said, I need to stand out somewhere, somehow, and I should wear a hat. And I was like, all right.
No.
I never
Stand
did.
out, a tall redhead who's beautiful. Yeah, you
God
need to
bless
stand
her
out somehow.
Exactly.
Yeah. And but I
What
didn't
kind
do
of
that.
hat?
I don't know. I didn't. I just was like. I remember. Thank God I had Henriette Mantel and Nancy Shane, who were good friends who'd already lived there for a while, and they said you don't have to take every bit of advice that you get. You don't have to wear a hat.
Robin Horton used to do. It was the most sublime club. It was perfect.
It really was a good one. Yeah.
And and it was smart comics. Barry Crimmins was always there.
Yeah.
And so you'd go on and you'd audition, and then you'd go into Robin's office. So I do my set. I'd been doing it for like 5 years, and I was a little bit hacky McGee, but I also had some. I was a smart hack. I had
How so?
promise.
Okay, yeah.
Like I had jokes that were conceptual enough that I put some thought into them.
I don't think of you ever being a hack.
Well, you didn't see me in those first 5 years. Not a bad hack, but like I was passable. Anyway, so he goes, I finish the set, and I walk up to him, and it's that awkward moment where you go like, "Do you like me?"
Yeah. Oh God.
And so I just look at him, and he goes, "Well, I can either tell you what I think, or you can come back and try it another time." And
Oh my God.
I go, "No, tell me what you think." So we go into his office.
Oh shit.
And he literally said, "As far as I'm concerned, you're just another cocky Irish puke."
Puke.
Oh.
Cocky Irish puke.
Wow.
Now, is puke a general slur, or is that also applied to your Irish heritage?
I thought
Being called
I
a
felt
puke.
like slandered against as an Irish person, more so than when Laura Keitlinger offered me a drink and a potato before the podcast.
Yeah, I did. But that was just by accident. I'm always drinking. And Caitlin Gill had brought these fried potato pastries from Porto's, and it just was a bad
That's
confluence of
That's
things.
what we need for our Patreon, is we need to film the part where you greet our guests with racial slurs downstairs. That's the off-camera
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
And then I rush Daniel throughout.
I
And
wa-
Daniel's the star of this podcast, and I'm always like pushing him, like, "Come on, we've got an hour."
That's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But I've never heard someone called a puke.
That's really
Ever.
horrible.
That's a
and here
he's
you
a
were a
horrible
young
guy.
Here you are a young kid too. He shouldn't have said that.
No, it really hurt. And then Lucian Holt, who I came to love, the guy
Me
who ran the
too.
comic
I
strip.
loved him immediately. He was so
Loved
nice.
him.
Yeah.
But he gave me some harsh, but it was great. If you're going to be a comedian, you need to embrace that kind of rejection. You need to take it in and
Yeah.
go, I'm going to fucking show you. When Lucian Holt told me that I didn't pass at the strip, and he said, you're just like another white guy or whatever, then I just said to myself, I started showing up every single night. I would show up and I'd sit there, and I wasn't like in anyone's face. I hung back and I just tried, and I fed off it. And I think that, that's part of comedy, is like, we both know brilliant comics.
Yeah.
That Jay London. How about someone like Jay
I
London?
love Jay.
Where
I
you go
just
like,
saw him recently. He was at the New Year's Eve thing at the Puppet Theater with
really?
Ron Lynch.
But I mean, you got people like that. You go like, okay, this guy could be a superstar.
Yeah.
But doesn't have this personality traits that you need to succeed in any business.
Like presence.
Tenacity and what's that?
You have to have some sort of presence, an appealing presence somehow, I think.
Well, I think that's part of it, but I also think there needs to be a business sense, and there needs to be a drive, and there needs to be like professionalism, and
Yeah, and you have to stick up for yourself all the time.
Yeah,
and sometimes
right.
that's taken in the wrong way.
Yes, I know very funny comics that just have, even when we started, when it was like, okay, you get $50 to open, and then this booker goes, well, I'm going to give you 30, and that person goes, okay, and I was the one that went, no, I have 50 or I don't do
great.
it.
Yeah.
From day one, I was like that.
And did Barry Katz learn his lesson from that? That cheap. We used to say Barry Katz would book us in a coffin if he could make any money off of it.
There was a Barry Katz story. I think it was Frank Santarelli. This is how he used to just torture comedians. He was just cheap and mean-spirited. He's a nice guy now. And so
Everybody is close to death.
he calls up Frank Santarelli. Frank calls him up and he goes, you got anything for me? And Barry goes, yeah, I got a gig up in Maine. It's 3.5 hours. There's no hotel. You got to drive the opener, and it's $150. Do you want it?
Oh my
And
God.
Frank thinks about it and he goes, yeah, I'll do it. And Barry goes, it's canceled.
Oh my God. These guys are so awful.
Because they could be that mean, yeah? There's that many people trying to get the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you met Laura in Boston?
I think that's where we first met, probably in the cross comedy scene.
Yeah. And then I remember you came to New York.
Yeah.
And I said, let's walk around. We got an ice cream cone.
Oh, that's
Am I
right.
wrong? Okay, yeah.
That's right.
Right.
We got an ice cream cone. We were at the club and you want to get some ice cream? I was like, whoever asked you that? It was the greatest. And then we became friends.
I moved to harder stuff. Yeah.
We became much better friends through Mary Fitzgerald and Nick Smith.
Yeah.
And we did that crazy film, Monumental.
Yeah.
Mary's film.
That's right. And Mary now, Mary's back she's in Somerville.
Oh, we're very close.
Oh,
I
yeah.
talk to Mary all the time.
Oh, geez. I know. I miss Mary. I haven't
No,
talked to her in a
she's
while.
in Dorchester.
Oh, okay.
Dorchester.
Well, she was going to teach in Somerville, I thought. And then she changed her mind at Emerson or whatever.
Yeah, she got a gig at Emerson as as kind of a tryout as a professor, taught 2 classes one semester. And of course, Mary, they fell in love with her. The kids were like, this is the great, because she's legit.
She's
Not
so
only is she
hilarious.
legit Boston, she's this girl, can I say girl?
No.
Yeah.
This woman. This woman.
Yeah.
Grew up in a really tough part of Boston in Dorchester. Father was a bookie for Whitey Bulger.
Oh.
Was in jail a lot of her
Yeah,
life. She has 5 brothers and sisters. The boys were all Golden Gloves champs, like boxers. And she just got a scholarship to go to a fancy prep school in Massachusetts for free. Then she got a scholarship to go to Wellesley because she was smart and she ran track. And then she ended up years later as a writer. She was writing out here for 20 years. And then she finally was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Sucks just to listen to men who are assholes all day long.
Yeah.
And she made me laugh so hard. Nick, she was with Nick Smith for a long time. And Nick said that she chased somebody, which I love the setting of this. Somebody cut her off in traffic. She followed them into the Joanne Fabrics. And then once they were inside, she picked a fight with this woman in Joanne Fabrics. And I just love that.
Have you met the women in Joanne's Fabrics? They're dicey.
Yeah. But this was just someone on the street that cut her off. I mean, so a car cut her off. She followed the car into the thing, and that was that.
Yeah.
But I love her for that.
One time it was in New York. And do you remember her previous boyfriend? Maybe you didn't know him. Irish guy named Sean Burgoyne. He was from Belfast.
I didn't know him. I remember talking about him though. Yeah.
So can I tell this story? I can't tell this
Go
story.
ahead. We can take it. We can undo it.
All right, let me tell it and then you decide.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that she said that made me laugh so hard. So she was she bought a house and was redoing it, and that maybe that was in Dorchester. And she calls me and goes, Laura, I just bought a house where all my boyfriends were raped at the church. Around the corner from where all my boyfriends were raped at the church.
Oh my God.
So I meet her I had this guy live on my couch my senior year of college. I had 4 roommates. And then this kid, Sean Burgoyne, shows up to my apartment one day and he had met my brother. They got thrown off a train together in France once.
Oh, wow.
And so he comes to the States and he's looking for places to stay. And my brother just gives him my fucking address and he shows up. He's got a duffel bag and he's got that thick Fitzy, what about you, Fitzy?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I used to say.
So he comes up for the Head of the Charles weekend, which is this big boat regatta in the fall. And so he comes up for that and stayed on the couch until the spring. Literally didn't move out.
Post regatta.
And post regatta. And but my roommates loved him so much. He was so funny and he was such a drunk and he was a bartender at the airport. We'd all go to the airport and drink.
Amazing.
I miss the pre 9/11 world where you could just go to the airport to go to the bar.
Yeah,
And,
right.
meet those kind of swingers.
Right,
That was such
yeah.
randiness. Yeah.
And so then he starts dating Mary and I meet Mary and just fall in love
Yeah,
immediately.
of course. She's
So that was 1989.
Oh, okay.
So it's been 35 years. We've been very tight. But they moved to New York, Sean and Mary. And Sean
I didn't know they moved to New York together.
they moved to New York together.
Wow.
And he became a fireman because he's Irish and it's part of the
Sure.
visa.
Yeah.
So he's a fireman in Manhattan. and but he's a drunk, and he would go to the Fitzgerald Hotel and drink with people, and so she and I go out to lunch one day, and we come back at like 3 p.m, and we walk into the living room, and he's splayed out on the couch with his pants around his ankles, passed out with Kleenex on his stomach.
Oh my God. No.
So he just had a bad cold, right?
Oh my God.
That is one bad cold when you have to take your pants off to blow your nose. Am I wrong?
Oh my
So
God.
she snaps and she goes, "You motherfucker! You haven't been fucking me, and you're jerking off in the middle of the day."
Oh, no.
And she starts hitting him, and he's pulling his pants off.
Oh, my
and I
God.
fell down laughing. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
That's amazing.
And that's the last place I would take that. I would be more, why aren't you at work?
Instead of why you're not getting.
Yeah, isn't there a cat stuck in a tree somewhere?
Is that not sexy anymore? Because I like to say to Garrett, why are you fucking?
Say what?
Is that not sexy to kind of lure your lover into bed by saying, why are you fucking?
Right. With that accent.
Oh, I know. I was laughing. I was talking to this friend of mine because Garrett's younger than me, and we were talking about, and my friend is newly divorced and dating a guy who's much younger, and we were saying, yeah, I think maybe going back to dating older guys, because the thing I miss is like when you date a younger guy and he gives you a gift, and then they have to say, and I bought it with my own money.
Like he has a paper route or something.
You mean I didn't give it to you or your mother? You mean you somehow bought this on your own?
I did it all by myself.
Wait, so you got married how many years ago?
4 years ago.
I gotta ask you, I'm dying to know.
What?
Because you're the
A
most
pain in the ass.
No, you're the most fabulous woman in Hollywood. You really are. You're glamorous, you're cool, you're kind, and you've always rubbed elbows with interesting people. I need to know. Give me a couple names from the wedding. Who was there? What comedians were there I would know?
We didn't get married. I mean, we didn't have a big wedding. We went. It was so. We've yet to have a real wedding. We went.
So it's not too late.
Who were you imagining? Yeah, who did you
I
think
don't
was
know.
gonna
I
be
don't
there?
know. Like,
No.
Somebody from Will and Grace.
Oh no! We went. It was almost laughable. It was at the Cesar Chavez courthouse, and
Courthouse weddings are the best.
yeah, but I was the only one that wasn't pregnant. There, and way older than I could have been the grandmother to the young Mexican and Chinese couples that were getting married there, and Garrett and I, they had like a podium and a plastic vine over it, and you didn't need to have a witness. You don't need to have witnesses anymore, so it's just the two of us, and we had
In that neighborhood, there are no witnesses.
No, they don't live to tell the tale.
and it was so funny. But I mean, Garrett cried because he realized he'd made a mistake, and it was so we got a pastor with like a bum hand, so he couldn't. And we didn't know this till we both stuck our hands out to shake his hand, and then he couldn't lift the certificate, so we had to lift the certificate off the podium. And I was just like, man, if we had an automatron. Automatron? What is it called? Automatron?
What?
Automatron?
What is
It
that?
would have been like a kind of better than that guy because he couldn't do anything but speak into a microphone. Automatron, yeah. Because if we had like a robot, it could have like lifted the thing and gave it to us. But anyway, it was just so fucking. I don't know. It was just hilarious.
So nobody was there.
No,
Just you two.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Automatron.
Yeah. Wow. And it was true love, but also Garrett's back had been like thrown out, and he needed to be on good. I've got amazing insurance. I'm on Writers Guild, and I
best.
loved him. I knew we
Yeah.
were going to get married, so I said, let's just get married now, and then we'll have a real wedding and something some other time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
You're gonna have to give me away.
Yeah.
And Daniel is my bride's matron, maid.
Maid of honor.
You're my-
Okay.
Maid
yeah,
of honor.
Yeah.
I'll do that. I'm in charge of the bachelorette party.
Yeah.
Which is great because you already have the penis straws.
Thank
We don't
you.
have to do any.
Flanagan will be there, right?
No,
Kevin
I've
Flanagan?
who?
Isn't that his first name?
Oh, Mark
Margo?
Flanagan.
Mark,
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
No, I've kind of like fallen out over
Get
there.
outta here.
I'm never there anymore.
I'm never
He's
there
You never
anymore.
asked me. I don't think
Never
there's a lot
asked
of
me.
loyalty in that club. It's kind of like who is super famous and they get
Yeah.
to be there, and
Yeah.
that's that.
It's funny because I play golf with him.
No.
And then he'll be like, hey, we got to get you back down to the club again. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to call you.
Yeah.
Maybe he meant golf club. Maybe. I don't want to insult
But
you.
what do you have like your home club here that you usually go?
Probably the store.
Yeah.
I like the store a lot just because it's just like feels like a New York club. That original room reminds me of New York Showcase.
Yeah, it's got a Westie vibe.
Yeah, it does. It does for sure.
Like a gangster.
I think it kind of has a bad reputation with more of the alternative world. I think they sort of paint the store as this very aggro kind of. Is that true?
I don't know, because I feel like I've always been sort of mislabeled as an alt comic, because I'm not. I've never been. I've been kind of came up with those people, but I was not an alt comic. Because first of all, I never had the guts, and I still don't, to go on stage without material. You know, they can riff with people and whatever, and just come up with what happens that day, and they're okay if it's not that funny or that anything. But I'm not. I really want to get laughs from something I've written.
Yeah.
I remember you walking on stage one night at Largo, the old Largo on Fairfax, which was like Catch a Rising Star in Cambridge. It was a magic room.
Yeah.
And you walked on and you went, I don't have a lot of new material. I had one of those days where I had a script due, so I had to just throw myself down and masturbate.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, when there's too much to do, yeah.
And then Laura she had her own bottle at Largo. Yeah. It was her brand.
Of what?
Was it vodka?
Yeah, it was Sky Vodka. Yeah, because they didn't have vodka.
With your name on
it? Or
it?
they had vodka, but not the kind,
It was just hers.
Yeah.
I was in a band, and we played in Dayton, Ohio at... Oh shit, what was the name of the bar? Cadillac Jack's.
Wow.
And we played, and then the next year when we, for some reason, played there again, they had installed a Jaeger chiller.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
So
oh my God.
Yeah,
That is the worst.
We were moving units, y'all. It was good.
That's amazing.
But you really only don't even want one, let alone two. So it's like you try to just like vend it just to take advantage of the compliment.
Attell used to have a joke about Jägermeister because that was his drink.
Oh my God.
And he's like, you never see a commercial for Jägermeister. He goes, I thought of a commercial for Jägermeister. You just see a kid alone on a swing. It's not moving. Jaeger. All these like sad scenarios of bad parenting.
Fantastic.
Was his show Up All Night? What was his show? Insomniac.
Yeah.
He did one in Austin, Texas, and Austin was such a small town. When one famous person was in town, it was like it was known. People were trying to run him over. Not in a bad way, but find him. Like, he's on 6th Street. It was like a thing. Go find Dave Attell.
You did a lot of stage time with Attell back in the day, right? In New York.
Yeah, I'm just seeing. We did a little animated thing together, and now it's like it's funny. Like the people that were old friends who are doing well. Like you're one of the few that I can still reach. I think because with Dave Attell, I had to go through Dave Rath and a few other people just to get him because he was going to be out here to do this animated thing with me to do a voice, and he did it, and it was called I Owe Larry David Money, and that's a whole other thing because I am one of these assholes that can be so in debt that I owe the richest person in Hollywood money. And also that there's somebody cheap enough to ask me for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's Hollywood. But I miss that. And I keep blabbing about doing like a Boston night of comics.
Oh.
Because, I was working on a show and I get to see Lenny Clarke all the time. And Mike Clarke.
Wait, what show is Lenny Clarke on?
Extended Family.
Is that the Mike O'Malley thing? Mm-hmm. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Lenny's on that?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. Has it aired yet?
Yes. I mean, I kind of wrote on that. I mean, I didn't get much in, but yeah.
It's those two are funny, Mike, and because Mike and Lenny got sober like 15 years ago.
Oh, really?
Oh my God. And they went from like, I'm not speaking out of school. I mean, Lenny talks about it, like lot of blow for a lot of years.
I remember
living
that.
hard. And then they took all that energy and they put it into golf and exercise.
Oh, wow. Right.
And now they're like, like Michael, I'll post something and Michael writes something kind of positive and cute as a comment. I'll be like, who's this guy.
Oh, Mike. Okay, yeah, so, yeah. I was lucky enough to work with Mike, sober, I guess. Except I'm not, and of course I'm not ever going to be. But I love seeing Lenny because, and I've probably told this story way too many times, but do you remember like doing stand up at Stitches?
Of course,
in Boston.
Yeah, it's the first place I ever did stand up.
Oh my God. Okay, because everybody, there was the cooler of alcohol and everybody doing coke.
Yeah,
in the back room, right? And I was afraid to do anything because I was so nervous about being on stage anyway and forgetting what I was going to say. But I remember I met Lenny, and I was probably like 23, and I'd come from New York, to Boston, and I wasn't.
Did you ever live in Boston, or you just?
Yeah. I went to Emerson, so I was there. Yeah.
Oh, right.
And then just the thick Boston accent. It took me so long to, and I remember one of my first times I met Lenny and all the amazing like Boston comics there. He said, "Salo, yeah, mafta?" And I said, "Excuse me?" Yeah, Rockmacha? And I said, "I don't, excuse me." And then and then Kenny Rogerson says, "Laura, I believe what the gentleman is asking is, are you a lesbian?" And I said, "Oh no, I'm not news. Oh, because I never see you with anybody." But I love Lenny, and Ken Rogerson is still like my favorite. Kenny Rogerson, I love so much.
Viper.
Yeah, and we were talking about Mike Sullivan.
That's his nickname. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Viper.
Mike Sullivan. Do you remember Mike Sullivan?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he had like kind of. I'd say he had like the Prince Valiant haircut.
He became Mike Sullivan Irwin.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he was a fat guy, right?
No.
Oh, I'm thinking.
No, he's
else.
a skinny guy.
Not Mike Donovan.
Oh God, it's Mike Donovan.
It's Mike Donovan.
I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
Mike Donovan.
Yeah.
How dare me?
Mike Donovan, one of the like a scientist of joke writing.
Oh, just brilliant, and
Yeah.
just too smart to be a comic. Really,
Yeah.
he's so fucking funny. But yeah, Dana and I were talking about how like everybody was so paranoid in Boston. Do you remember he used to lay on stage and go, "Quit!"
Who used to do that?
Mike Donovan.
Really?
Like he goes, like if you're sleeping and everybody's afraid, yeah, quit. Like being afraid of it. It was so stupid. But I mean, he was mocking the people that were like assholes like that.
Yeah. He really
Shit.
got Boston because his father worked on the Boston Strangler case. He was the lead detective on the Boston Strangler case.
Holy shit!
So he grew up like in real Boston. So he got it. And meanwhile, like you said, he was an intellectual. He would literally go do stand-up. He'd go to Cranston, Rhode Island, and then drive home, smoke a joint, and then work on his Russian history books.
Oh,
he
yeah.
was writing Russian history.
The biggest,
Brilliant.
like the person who was always tripping, always on acid, is the same person who was valedictorian
Yeah,
and tripping when they gave their speech.
Right,
And
right.
that bitch is a fucking PhD professor of like biology. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
she's still high.
I think he finally published he worked on it for 20 years, his volume of Russian history.
Wow.
And then I drove him down. The thing about Boston was there was so many rooms, and if you had a car and you were an opener, you were consistently getting work because all the headliners got DUIs and they couldn't drive to the gig. So you had to pick them up and take them to the
That's
gig.
why.
Really funny.
Well, that reminds me of that poor guy they called Home James.
Yes, Doug James.
Oh shit. Okay, yeah.
did I tell
he
you
won't
your
be
story?
listening. No. I was gonna say.
Well, you said
I
the
don't want to.
punchline first.
I didn't want to. No, I didn't want him. I didn't think he might not be listening anyway. I just thought maybe that was mean.
It's just the most perfect joke. This guy
Why?
named Doug James, and the only way he got work was driving headliners. So instead of Doug James, they called him Home James.
Because he take me home,
Yeah.
James. No.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Please go ahead.
So anyway, so Donovan, I lived in Brookline, right near Donovan. And we were working at the Providence Comedy Connection, like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So every night, he was a quiet guy, never talked. I picked him up in my Volkswagen Rabbit. It was a 76 Volkswagen Rabbit.
Shit, that sounds great.
And we drove down to Providence, and we do the shows, and we drive back and never say a word. He just would put the Celtics on AM radio because he loved Johnny Most.
Oh yeah.
And then we would get back to his apartment. I'd drop him off. He'd kind of nod at me. And this goes on for 3 nights. And then finally on the last night, usually the headliner will give you some gas money. So he goes to me, hey, why don't you come inside? So I go into his apartment. I was like, all right, I guess he's going to get me some money. And he comes out and he hands me, those laminated sheets with baseball cards in them.
Yeah.
He was a huge baseball card collector.
Oh wow.
So
What was his apartment like first?
It was dark. smelled like pot, and it was a basement apartment.
But it wasn't like he was a hoarder or anything.
He had file cabinets filled with baseball cards.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Multiple.
Amazing.
So it was probably $1 million worth of cards in that
Sure.
apartment. So he gives me 6 laminated sheets of baseball. I go, this is fucking great. I don't give a shit about baseball. What am I going to trade cards? I'm going to put them in the spokes of my bike or something. And so I take them home and I throw them in a trunk. And the trunk ends up in my aunt's basement in the Bronx for like 25 years.
Oh my God.
Just sits there. And then she died. And we went to the basement, we're clearing it out, and I come across the baseball cards.
Wow.
And I look at them, and 3 of the pages, which means about 20 of the cards, are Mark McGwire rookie cards.
Oh,
Mark
wow.
McGwire is one of the biggest home run hitters in history.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And it was a rookie card, which are the ones you want.
Oh my
So
God.
I fucking rush off to the hobby store, and I go to the guy, I go, all right, what are you going to give me for these?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, if he'd come in before he got busted on steroids, he's be worth about $100 each.
yeah,
He goes,
'cause
I'll
he-
give you 25 cents each for them.
No.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
Mr. Window.
I missed the window.
Because he
Oh,
was,
shit.
who was the other guy? Sosa
Sammy Sosa.
was dosing also?
Yep.
And they were kind of hitting records at the same time. or
Exactly.
breaking the record
Exactly.
at the same time.
Was he out here, Sosa?
Sosa was in Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh, who am I thinking of that's out here? Sammy something. I was in
There's
Dodgers game.
Some old SNL.
Oh, that was
I'd only
Steve Garvey? No.
No,
That
it was somebody
before that.
I went to one Dodgers game since I've been out here, and I call going to a game drinking outside. It's so goddamn fucking boring.
it's fun. You don't like
God,
it?
I'm looking up,
You
like,
know,
is anything
you-
gonna fucking happen? And
Yeah.
I'm
No,
looking up at the
you
screen.
have to
Yeah.
sit in the poor people seats, and because they'll pass you their joints, they will tell you which players you want to yell at, which are all of them, and that's where you got to sit because that's where the action is.
Well,
And
it
they
was
beat the
wasted on
shit
me.
out of people, too.
Yeah.
No,
Anyway.
it's like, it's so slow, and then every time the team takes the field, every time they switch sides, they practice. They play catch. It's like,
Yeah.
They do?
Why are we? Yeah, every
Yeah,
time
you
they
don't see
warm up
them
for
all.
5
Yes.
minutes. Every time, 18 times they switch sides,
Wow.
and they play catch every time.
But that's also one where you can get up and walk around and come back. You haven't missed a fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's very social. All the
Right.
other live sports are boring.
Hockey's not.
Well,
Hockey's great.
I kind of like hockey
Yeah.
because
There
that was
was-
the only sport I could play. But I like watching basketball. You don't care for?
No, I feel like basketball could be played in 4 minutes, right? Why do we have to watch an
This
hour and a half
guy
of this shit?
scored
back and forth,
70
back and forth.
points last night.
Who?
Some guy. I don't follow basketball, but I saw the headline.
We-
70 points.
They had what is it? It's not like a professional league, but the next one under or whatever. Whatever. The shittier one, but still they get paid.
No, this is NBA.
No, hockey.
Oh, the minors?
Yeah, that. So we had a minor league hockey team in Austin, Texas, which none of it makes sense, but they were the Bats or something like that. And they played in an old Thunderdome, and you'd go, and they would just let fights happen. So that's why you went. It was
Yeah,
like, no,
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
just looked, the referees would look the other way. So it was like a real show.
No, the minors are known for that.
It
yeah.
was great. So we would go, and first of all, the bat mascot was clearly like used to be a bear that they just sewed wings to. You know what I mean? Like it was not a bat mascot. They turned like a gerbil and
Yeah.
they gave it flight. And so it's while the Zamboni thing is cleaning the ice in the middle of it, right? Halftime, that the bat has a t-shirt gun, shirt
Yeah.
cannon.
Oh,
And he's
shit.
doing the thing like which side is louder,
Right.
and nobody cares, so no one's loud at all. And so he's just trying to fashion some enthusiasm out of these people. Finally picks the winning side. He aims the t-shirt cannon and he shoots it, and he hits the huge speaker system that's in the middle.
Yeah.
And then when he hits that, all this dust and just slowly settles, and you hear the whole audience go, "Boo!" Like,
Oh man.
but then the Zamboni has to come back out and clean it again. It was the most. I was like, "This is what we're paying
That's
for."
great.
Nobody gives a shit what the score is.
What kind of person loves to be a mascot? I wonder.
Well, my friend Teddy Erico, who he was a really good hockey player, actually he almost went pro, and so he ended up working in the front office for the New Jersey Devils. But he grew up a Rangers fan. We were all Rangers fans in Tarrytown. So he worked at the front office, and then they said to him one day, "Hey, you want to make an extra like $200 a day? You got to be the mascot, like because you're a good
holy
skater." So they give him a devil costume. And
Yeah.
he puts it on. And he's skating around, and I'm at the game, and I say to him, I go, how can you as a fucking Rangers fan possibly go out and because that crowd does cheer when the devil comes out, and he's waving. I go, how can you do that? He goes, because I'm going like this the entire
Yeah.
time, underneath the gloves. I'm going like this.
Absolutely.
Funny.
everybody's taking estrogen now. All not estrogen, testosterone. Guys over 40 are all taking testosterone. They're taking the B12 shot. I mean, I've been to shows where there is a doctor with a table, and whoever wants to get shot up, go in. And
Why?
Shit.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, you know, it also, you know,
Because it gives you energy, like
For the
testosterone.
show.
I mean, I'm 57.
Yeah.
My testosterone is fucking gone.
Right, but look at your skin.
all the,
Really?
No, you look great.
Oh, that's
you
nice to
look like
hear. I always think
a young flower. At the Doug Flutie and all the guys that do the commercials for.
You see them try to talk in unison.
I know, but
What's the product they do? They can't say the same thing at the same
really?
time.
Oh
Yeah.
no!
I
Well,
love
it's
it.
about it's
Q
for,
and all 10.
It's for I think it's for you know
It's testosterone.
I can't stand it. It's testosterone. That's what it
Yeah,
is. It's
yeah.
not just to get hard.
Oh no, it is because in every commercial they go and she'll like it
Oh,
too.
that makes me
and
so
they cut
fucking
to the wife
angry.
who goes.
That makes me so
Me?
angry.
Yeah.
That hard on has been the bane of my existence.
Yeah.
I want to like Lorena Bobbitt that off, and you're saying that that's gonna make me happy. You fucking bloated.
Also, it's 2024. We're
I mean, I'm just talking about housewife. I'm not a housewife.
But it's
I'm not. I married somebody young.
I want them to be at least fucking progressive with the Greg Louganis commercial and be like, and he'll like it too. And that way it's fucking
Yeah.
and show some
Yeah.
old horny dude who's
And
ready
then
for
show
Christ's sake.
a diving board go ding, 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 ding.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And
But
like
did
when they were throwing the football, and I wanted to do this thing, and then there was the other guy who had the elbow cast or whatever, not an elbow cast, but it's like he was
Highlight?
A
he was-
brace?
yeah, elbow brace. Yeah, the football player who had the elbow brace, he does that all the time. But I thought like if somebody was just playing like older football players were just playing, I just wanted to play football in the backyard. I didn't care about having an erection. Can't we just be friends?
I just want to throw the ball around.
I just need an elbow brace.
Why the
I
f-
don't care
is Doug
about being
Flutie-
my own wife or anybody.
Why is Doug Flutie trying to get me hard again? Like, what the?
Oh my God, I do boner pill ads on my podcast.
Yeah.
You do?
I literally will do any
Well, no,
product.
but that's
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
Yeah.
That means, wait a second, let's take 2 seconds. Greg.
Yeah.
Let's plug your podcast before we forget, because it's really funny and it's a smart, I'm going to say it's a smart alternative to Joe Rogan. Can I say that?
And
nice
it gets
to
your
hear.
dick
And it's
out.
really funny, yeah.
And you will get a hard on listening.
Um,
It's called Fitzdog Radio. We just did our 1,000th episode this year.
great.
For 14 years,
And I
every
remember-
single week.
That's
Damn.
fantastic.
You've
That
had a
every
podcast
week.
for 14 years.
14
That's
years.
way before people had podcasts.
Yeah,
Well,
you're
if
ahead of
I
the
had
curve.
taken it seriously, it would be, I see all the people I started with, like Marin and Rogan, and like they're huge. And I just I would be writing on a TV show or doing
Sure.
stand up and raising kids, and I just never put the effort into it, but I always did it. I showed it, and I have great guests. I only pick people to come on. I'd love to have you back on.
You
again. And
will.
obviously, you'd be welcome.
Wait
anytime.
until after the badminton game.
But that's
I have
a
to prove
huge,
it.
Yeah.
Greg, that's a huge success. That's really awesome.
1,000 episodes.
And I've been so mean to Greg. I teased Greg when I found out he had a nickname, and I said, you can't have a nickname anymore, Fitzdog.
Oh,
You're
you
too old to
Fitzdog.
have a fucking nickname.
I think it ruined the podcast. I think the name of the podcast is so not me that
No,
they
no.
talk about being on brand. Like my brand
yeah,
is
it's
over
important.
there and I'm over here. Like it was a joke in college. My
Sure.
friends, the BU had like 2 fraternities and nobody cared about them. And so I fucking hated them. I tried to fight a whole fraternity one night. And so they started making fun of me by calling me Fitzdog, like I was a frat guy. And then it just stuck, and all my college friends called me Fitzdog.
I remember that in your 20s, I was being mean to you about being called Fitzdog.
Yeah.
So you're trying to
But I'm
reclaim
probably
the name,
wrong.
take ownership of it, so it's not a bully triggering
It just
thing
was
anymore.
the lazy, easy way to name my podcast.
But I
It's
like it. In a way, I like it. I'm just teasing you because think about it, like Bobcat. And
that's
Barry was Bearcat. Did you know
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
And Tom Kenny, who I love, is Tomcat. I had no idea that's it's something.
And
it's,
they're all from the same town, aren't they? Like in
yeah.
upstate New York?
Yep.
The Catskills?
No, like
No,
Buffalo area.
Rockland or
Rochester?
No.
No, not Rockland. It's way upstate.
No, you're right. It's like someplace that has a lot of apple orchards, and I can't think of it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. But
Where'd you grow up?
Jamestown, but I'm closest to. I was pretty close to the Peace Bridge. We're pretty close to the Canadian border. Like not as crappy as Tonawanda, but it took us about an hour to get to Buffalo.
Let me ask you this. Are you in that? Isn't there a comedy museum in that town now?
There is,
Are
and
you in
I'm
it?
not.
No!
Can you imagine
That's
what
gotta
a-
haunt you.
Are you
No,
sure?
what a a nightmare, though.
Are you sure
You
you're
spend
not?
your life trying to get out of your hometown and be something, be a comic, and then there's a huge comedy museum in your hometown.
Yeah.
That's a kick right in the
I
front.
know.
But that's the only.
I don't need that.
That really is the only thing in town. You might be because
And
they
it's
have,
an amazing museum.
I heard it's
Amazing.
incredible,
It's
yeah.
beautiful. I guess I could be in it. I
Yeah,
could
they
send stuff
have a
and be
whole-
in
It's
it.
$50,000.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
How much would I have to pay to be in the museum and the town there I grew up in?
I
Yeah,
feel like there's
right.
somewhere in there. There's Laura Keitlinger.
Oh, there might
I
be.
went
Maybe you can
last
give
year.
tours or something.
Oh,
We
damn.
took the tour. They gave.
Oh, you went?
I toured with Margaret Cho, and so they gave her a private tour. So my dumbass was just there by luck, and so we got to see this was last year.
It's a big George Carlin exhibit,
They
right?
had just
Yeah.
opened it,
Yeah.
and so we got to see it before they let it out, and it was
that's
like
amazing.
it didn't
What's
have his list of dirty words or there, like everything. And Kelly, actually, we saw Kelly Carlin on that trip.
yeah.
Now,
I
was
think,
George
which was
Carlin a
insane.
big influence on you when you
Oh,
were?
without a doubt. Yeah, I would say Bob Newhart and George Carlin.
Me
are
too!
my favorites.
Newhart.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah.
Do you know this is my favorite George Carlin joke ever. It's not even a joke, but the balloon guy, he goes, "I'm a balloon guy." Sometimes I say, "Give me a balloon." And sometimes I say, "Give me a balloon." And that's it. That's the
I
whole
don't
thing.
remember that.
I fucking love that joke. It
Oh
kills
shit!
me.
God, that reminds me of Doom. I did stand up one of the many times. I'm going to say one of the 3 times I bombed really badly in Vegas was I opened for this guy who made balloon animals out of rubbers. Or condoms, as the young kids might say, and his
Kids don't use condoms anymore.
okay, and his big finale was tying up a condom, and then he made it into a wiener dog, and there was no way I could follow that. No way I could
Yeah,
fucking
that's
follow
tough.
that.
That's
I was
tough.
like, I was 5 minutes in, and I was like, I wish I could give you all the money that you've lost to be here, because I know that this whole fucking show is a consolation prize, and I wish I could give you your retirement money back, because. Wait a second, Greg. Now your dad. Now, are you checking up on your heart and all that stuff? Because I know your dad. Didn't your dad have a heart attack?
Yeah, he died at 53, and he was at Rayo's in New York, and he went face down on the table and just gone. And his parents died in their 40s.
Shit.
So it's good we're recording this now.
No, but correct. So do you check? Because my dad had a heart attack at 58.
Just
Yeah.
dead
Well,
on the
my
floor.
dad smoked 3.5 packs a day.
Wow.
And he was an alcoholic, and he didn't exercise, and he was very stressed out. So I quit drinking, I quit smoking, I take a statin for my cholesterol. I work out like 4 days a week, 5 days a
Well,
week.
that's great.
Yeah, and the only thing is my stress. I think I'm still a stress case, and I think that that's ultimately the biggest factor. with
Well,
heart
you do
attacks.
so much at once. You're
do
still
too
you're a
much.
good dad, and you still try and impress your wife, and she goes along with it, and and your podcast, and you do stand up every night.
Yeah, and I'm
That-
out on the road a lot.
You do tons.
Yeah.
You do way too much.
Yeah, it's too much. I think I'm gonna maybe lose one of the podcasts.
Wait a minute.
I do 3 podcasts.
Ah, Jesus Christ, I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
thought there was just the Fitzdog.
No, I do Sunday papers every Sunday with. Do you know Mike Gibbons? My buddy Mike Gibbons.
I feel like I do.
He's like he created Norm Macdonald's last show and Spade's last show.
I do know-
He created
I knew-
Tosh.0.
Yeah.
So and he runs the roasts now.
Oh shit, how
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
So he was my best friend from college.
Oh,
And we just
man.
kind of like went different paths and ended up like
Yeah.
and so it was
And then what's the other one? Wait, you do 3 podcasts?
Oh, so I do that one with him
Uh-huh.
on Sundays. We go through the Sunday paper and we do entertainment and business and sports and we
Oh,
do
that's
jokes from each
smart.
one.
Have you ever read the wedding announcements in the New York Times Sunday paper?
No.
Epic, wild.
It's all
They're
wasp,
so
right?
pedigree. It's all
Yeah, yeah,
pedigree.
it's
You
kinda-
know where their parents
Yeah, right.
work and got their money.
Yeah.
But they're pages. One
Yeah.
announcement is like a full page. It's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
Oh, I
I'm
thought
sure
you
they
meant-
pay $50,000 for that.
Oh no,
Yeah,
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
a fight just to get it in.
Yeah.
'Cause it's all about timing.
Yeah,
What do
I
you like
went-
about Sunday papers?
What do I like about them?
Yeah, is it just
I used to get the Times every day, and then I started to feel
I get it
guilty.
online, yeah.
I started to feel guilty because all the papers would pile up, and I wasn't reading Wednesday and Thursday. And so now I just went with Sunday. I just get the Sunday
It's
paper.
a smart way to be political, actually, to kind
That's
of
all you
keep
need.
on what. Yeah,
They sum
keep
it up.
on
The
things.
Sunday
Yeah.
paper sums up the week. That's what I like about it. It's
Yeah.
like, the op-ed page covers the big issues you need to know, and it tells you as a liberal how to think about them. And so I just and I like the comics when I was a little kid. I would always that was the first thing that got me to read. It got me into comedy. I love the comics.
I'm still waiting for Family Circus to be funny.
We do every week. We do Family Circus.
You got to be kidding
Yeah,
me.
and
I'm sorry, I didn't know
We just
that.
rant about how much we hate Family Circus.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
My
Okay.
grandmother had Family Circus clippings on her fucking fridge.
Really?
And I remember trying to search each one for something funny, and you'd never
The
find
craziest thing is Bill Keane is the guy that writes it.
Uh-huh.
His father created it. His father
shit.
did it for 40 years,
my
and then
God.
this asshole took it over. And we
take
just
it.
joke about what his day must be like. It's all he has to do once a week is come up with one frame.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking bad. We just go like, he's playing golf every day.
Can somebody do this?
Yeah,
His
he's-
kid, his dog's doing it. Wait a second. So what's the third podcast?
Childish, which I do with the woman named Allison Rosen, and she's got babies and I've got grown kids, so it's about me trying to teach her how to parent, and she's not really buying it.
Oh, that's great. That's a good idea.
So we do that, and that one's easy. We just sit down.
So
and
do you
shoot
have
the
a studio that you go to, or you just do it at your house or her
I had a
house?
studio for 15 years in Santa Monica, and now they're tearing it down to build pickleball courts.
What the
Oh,
f- is with
wow.
pickleball?
As if
It's like
I
people-
didn't hate pickleball enough already.
Why is it so popular?
That's not even gentrification. That's white breadification. I can't even think of what it
Yeah.
is. It's like blandification. It's
Yeah.
blandification.
It's blandification. Yeah. So I have this studio now in Beverlywood. Yeah, that's the neighborhood.
Oh, nice.
But it's not like an office. The other place was like an office with the studio. And so I could get out of my house every day and go there. And it was a place, and it was great because my life was compartmentalized. I would go to the office, open my computer, work, masturbate,
Sure.
and then leave. And then when I got home, like I'm present. I'm here. I'm not thinking about work,
That's so nice.
And now that I don't have the office, because the other place is just a studio. It's not really a place to hang out. It's been since Thanksgiving, and I'm really stressed out.
Yeah.
My life is in turmoil.
I know. Well, look at this. I'm driving Garrett nuts because we're doing this. We've been doing this for about a year, and I've been torturing Garrett because we just started taping, and he's kind of a
What do you
perfectionist.
mean you started taping?
We've been audio, but this is the first time we've been videoing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Garrett is a professional cinematographer and editor, and so like I've been driving him nuts because he's like trying to light it so you can't see my roots and doing other things, and and poor Daniel, I'm pushing Daniel around. I feel like I'm stressed out for Garrett, but I'm making it worse for him.
No.
Yeah.
I think, is it a male thing? And I relate to this as a semi-male. Is that like alone time for, I don't know if it's the same
Yeah.
for, but like if you don't give a man like alone time, then that's when I get cagey and weird. It's
I
like,
think so. I think women are able, I think they're biologically built to raise a child, cook, keep an eye on a guy. Like if you go back to like caveman days,
Yeah.
and men are like single focused, like go kill, eat a lot, pass out alone.
yeah.
I like your 1950s Bill Burr take on that.
Halfway through it, I was like, I'm saying this in front of Larry.
I love you to pieces, and we are going to get a vasectomy. I'll talk to you about it, but God damn me, all right. I love you, Greg. I'm so glad you're here. Hey, where do people go to watch you, to see your
You're going
funny
to go
stuff?
to Fitzdog.com is the website. And then I got some dates coming up in La Jolla. Oh, we got March 16th is my St. Patrick's Day show. Do you want to do that this
You
year?
know I fucking do.
You've done it before.
Have I?
You did my St. Patrick's Day show once before.
Is it a stand-up show or is it your podcast?
It's a stand-up show.
I would love to. Where do
Yeah.
you do it?
At the Improv.
I desperately want to.
Okay.
Great.
And then I'll be in Portland. Mm-hmm. I don't know. All the dates are at Fitzdog.com.
Okay, so people can go to Fitzdog. Okay,
Yeah.
and see you. Okay, great. And your hilarious podcast also, people can.
Yeah.
You like the road and touring?
I always say, and I think other people have said it before me, is that I do stand up for free, but they pay me to travel. I love performing. I really love the
Yeah.
shows. And I like the challenge. I just taped a new special.
Oh, you did great.
Yeah.
Where?
At Joe Rogan's Club in Austin, Texas.
At the mothership?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was amazing. I
Yeah.
mean,
So where does it air?
we don't know because Netflix doesn't pay you up front. You got to spend your own money, shoot it, which costs a shitload of money because it's got to be 4K, it's got to be 6 cameras, you got to have lighting packages, and
shit.
So I spent all this money, and then I'm editing it now, and then we'll show it to them, and then they'll decide whether or not it goes to YouTube for free.
I love that it's called The Mothership. Is that a nod to P-Funk?
Comedy Mothership.
I guess
That's
so.
who just
Make
got
my funk
Wait,
P-Funk.
he just got his star on the Hall of Fame.
Oh, you're kidding
George
me.
Clinton,
I
like
bet he
a couple
didn't
days
pay.
ago.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean,
He
I'm sure he
shouldn't
did.
have
Yeah.
to.
But his
for
was
God's sake.
amazing. I drove past the ceremony and I watched it live.
Wow.
It was great. And he had like his was like special. The people were there like for love. I
Yeah.
thought it was great.
Oh, that's amazing.
I saw them live with the fucking UFO and
Oh,
everything.
yeah, I saw them live. It's the
Shit.
best live show I've ever been to in my life.
It's the
Wow.
longest live show I've ever been.
Yeah.
But
I
the best part
love
is
it.
the band is playing
I want to see that.
for like an hour. And then George Clinton makes his entrance.
Yeah.
It's the most
Shit.
fabulous thing because
Yeah.
I love that.
you forget he's not on stage. There's so much happening, and then so by the time the party is well underway,
Yeah. Bootsy
Yeah.
Collins is up there.
all of
Oh my
that.
God.
And then he had these backup singers, these witchy women.
Yeah.
They
Make my funk the
like,
P-Funk.
Right.
They had a fan on them, so they're very Endora, like everything's blowing. It's a great
Oh,
fucking
God
yeah,
damn it.
it's a whole pimp thing.
Yeah, but
I
it was,
love-
well, Pimp Alien is
Yeah.
like my favorite. That
Yeah.
shit was so good. But no, he just got his, and I thought
I'm
it was
so glad.
special. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Oh,
make
shit.
I'm gonna put stars in front of my house, but just for the family members.
Do that. Yeah, and then they don't have to charge. I mean, they don't. You don't have to, or would you charge them?
No, I'm trying to make money.
Oh, okay, good. No, no, no.
Well, have you seen the ones in Palm Springs? They have stars.
Oh, they do?
And like you walk, and it's like a bit of a reach. Who cares? And then all of a sudden you'll be like, oh my God, Judy Tenuta. Like, and then it's like, oh, this is legitimate. Like,
Oh my God! You want to see something crazy?
Is it the what?
You're talking about
Alright.
Judy?
We have to go
No,
see
it's-
Judy.
It's Judy adjacent.
Well, this I think you might laugh about. I was on Hollywood Boulevard. I'd met Louis. We were talking about. I wrote a horror film that he might want to direct. I don't know what. We're talking. I look down and there's Jack Black.
No,
who I've dated for 8 years. And I was like, yeah. And anyway, and I said, yeah. And this ass. So, oh my God.
that is
How many
funny.
people have their ex-boyfriends like on the ground? That on a star.
So I get this email yesterday. I've met this guy once 10 years ago, and I get this email yesterday.
I
oh jeez.
Isn't that fantastic?
That's crazy.
opened
So it's
for him.
Emo Phillips. Could you phone me some evening? That's my favorite part.
Oh, I love
like
it.
he's still sleeping all day. He's that guy.
and plus evening. That sounds like the way he talks.
Yeah,
Could you
yeah.
phone me some evening?
I opened for him, which was a huge pleasure because I actually knew who he was, and I loved Emo.
Could not be a nicer human being.
Two things he said. He never mentioned me at all until the last show of the last night. He goes, give it up for your host. And then he said, what if Daniel wasn't gay? That would have been the most offensive act in comedy history. I was like, oh my God, that's so brilliant. But he gave me, I was trying to ask him for an autograph because I'm that lame. And somehow in emo world, the conversation deviated to his wife wrote for Star Trek at the time. And he wrote down her episode number and where I could find it. And it doesn't say Emo Phillips anywhere on that index card, but it says Star Trek in some jagged handwriting, like episode season this, episode that. And that is my emo souvenir, which I love.
Yeah.
Because he wrote Star Trek on it and it's real. And so I want to get that tattooed on me somewhere.
Yeah.
I love emo.
He's one of the best joke writers in history.
Yeah, and a super sweet guy. Greg, we love you to pieces. I'm going to see you more often. I hope.
And we went to Australia together.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
God, I died. That's where God.
When?
You know what? I've mentioned this because that was one of the first times I really died in a foreign country because I had.
I know I always make a joke that my jokes went down the toilet, but in the opposite direction they normally do.
That's right. I remember, I was sick for most of it, but also that I opened with, well, I'm really nervous about tonight because I'll be bombing for 2. I just found out I got pregnant, and then everybody applauded. And I said, please hold your applause. I don't know if I'm going to keep it.
Yeah.
And then the longest silence in history. And remember, we were in a theater in the round.
Yep.
There are people all around. And I was like, and just the silence. And I was like, what the fuck? How do I get out of here now?
No, we tanked.
That was tough.
hard.
But
You did
Melbourne,
too?
Yeah, everybody
it was
did.
Melbourne.
Why?
That was such a hard crowd.
It was a hard
I think
crowd.
they only liked the host. whoever the host was.
You know what it was? Is there was British comics, and they were such cunts to us.
Yeah.
They were so cold.
That's
they didn't
right.
talk to us.
That's
It
right.
was so weird because, like, you know, in this country, they're really like, you know, people might talk shit, whatever, but like, there's a sense of community among
Yeah, well, at least
comedians.
they'd be nice. Yeah.
They were just rude to us.
That's true. We were like shut out
Yeah.
Instantly. That was
Yeah.
right. I remember that.
It was me, you, and who was the other guy?
Warren Hutcherson.
Oh, I love Warren Hutcherson.
I do too. God
The best.
damn it.
And my
There was
wife was there, and my son was like 2.
Oh, geez. Okay.
The family.
Took
Yeah.
the family. I think they flew us business class, right?
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But it was so funny. On the way back, I was sick. And I remember because I got sick and I was trying to get into the first class bathroom because all our I don't think we were, no, it was
maybe we
Comedy
were
Central.
coached.
So we
Oh,
were
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
coached.
yeah.
Yeah, and so, and it was a world tour, but it was only LA and Melbourne, but that was the world with that budget. So then I remember getting sick and I said to the stewardess, you know, both of these, the bathrooms and coach are full and I'm really, I think I'm going to be sick. And she kept saying, no, I'm sorry. You have to wait. And then finally I kind of tried to get to the bathroom without her and she tried to stop me and I threw up on the door.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I love you to pieces. You got a show to do. Okay,
Yeah,
Greg.
Thank
outta
you
here.
so
All right,
much.
love you.
Greg,
I'm so
thank
glad to
you
see
too.
you. We're you're gonna have to see us more.
Can we hang out?
Yes, I
Yes.
would love that.
All right, I would love
We're
to
not
hang
right
out.
now?
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, let's all get
nothing.
together and
Yeah.
have dinner sometime.
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
to take you out for ice cream.
And debate God. Okay.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
All right. Yay, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Ken.